What's up, everyone? It's your boy again, George Calioris. I'm sure you know that by now, but if you don't, make sure you do. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share the video. I really appreciate it. I pump out this content 3 or 4 times a week, and I do it because I like doing it. It's really that simple. I like doing it, and I like giving away the information that I've learned out over the years. So here it is, Here's my deadlift session too. 380, not 385, 380 from 1-inch deficit, no belt. Elbows are killing me still. That's why I got my sleeves all kind of weird. Elbows are really hurting, and it's pretty apparent when I try and set up every time. I did show my setup because it can get pretty intense trying to set up, especially when you got straps on. You got to make sure that you're not spending energy in the hole that you don't need to spend. So you got to be pretty quick at putting straps on. But you'll also see a couple things. One is that I launch off my right leg, which is not the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to launch equally off both legs. I do have a pretty wide stance, but that's just the way I deadlift now. I would like to bring my stance in a little bit more, but for right now, and probably for a while after, it's going to be kind of wide, even though, like I said, I'll try and bring my stance in about 1 inch every time. Maybe less than 1 inch. I'll just have to wiggle it in. But you'll see then that my hips shoot up when I go and pull, so I'm not putting my back into it hard enough right there. And I pull from a comfortable position. So instead of pulling from a position that my body wants to be in, I try and force it into a position that it doesn't necessarily want to be in, one that it's not really strong in. Even though that's the one I want it in, it's not doing it. My hips shoot up and my legs kind of straighten out. I put a lot of glute effort into it. Haven't really felt a whole lot of my hamstrings lately. It's kind of frustrating. I used to be very hamstring dominant, and now I'm just kind of doing it. I don't really know what the deal is with that. I don't know how to get into my hamstrings better, besides work my hamstrings harder, but we'll see. So, supposed to do 6 sets of 5 with 80%. That would have been 30 reps. Ended up doing 4 sets of 5 because my elbows were just hurting that bad that I wanted to cut my arms off. And it has a lot to do with the squats, from the low bar squat position, from the bar resting on the low part of the shoulders, and then the arms having to support it. Puts a lot of stress on the elbows and wrists. It always happens. There's not much of a way to prevent it besides use a different bar or a different bar style. One that I can't really do with 405 pounds. So kind of stuck with it for now. Kind of stuck with dealing with the elbow pain. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. Dog's going crazy behind me. But anyways, managed to grind through 20 reps, which is pretty optimal. It's not bad. 30 reps is kind of overkill anyway, so 20 reps is good for about 80%, between 20 and 25 reps. So I did it. You could even do something like 15 to 16 reps at 80% and still get benefit out of it. It depends all on what the rest of your training looks like. So you see I set up every single time on the deadlift. I lower the weight. And what was really hurting my elbow actually was I was dropping my shoulders into the bottom when I was getting close to the ground, and it would just I don't know what it was doing. It was like just releasing the pressure on my elbow, and then all of a sudden it was killing me. So once I figured that out, I just stopped because I was already 4 sets in, and I really just didn't feel like trying to change it. Still see I'm trying to get that low hip position. Sometimes I actually, like that last rep, I did a pretty good job keeping my hips down, driving with the back. It just takes a lot more effort. I have to think about keeping my shins more vertical and pulling the weight back more, not just up, which is how you're supposed to deadlift. But I just pull from a position that I'm strong in, and it's not might not be the best, might not be the worst, but I don't really know. I pulled 475 with it. I'm pretty sure I pulled 500 with it before. Didn't have a video camera on me then, so I don't really know what I looked like. I know I didn't hitch though, that's for sure. You always want to try and tuck your elbows in. You know, just like with the squat or the bench or the overhead press, you always want to try and tuck your elbows in. Pull them in, twist them so they point backwards, and then that'll be a good starting position because now your lats will be locked in, and if your lats are locked in, then your arms are locked in, and that means your spine won't flex as much because your lats connect basically from your elbow to your hip. So if those are all solid and rigid, then you'll have less spinal flexion, and less spinal flexion means a better starting position, better finishing position. The better you can start in and maintain, the better you're going to finish in. Of course, when the weights start getting heavy, you're going to get some form breakdown. Sometimes it's okay to drive through a little bit of form breakdown, but sometimes you got to realize that maybe that's not the training purpose for the day. You know, I spend a lot of time with a lot lighter weights working on my technique and my form. And so when I get to 80, 90, 100%, my back does bow just a little bit. I'm not going to say round because it doesn't really round. I don't look like the Circle C, but it does bow just a tiny bit. And again, with 380 pounds and no belt, some shit happens. Boom. And that was my 20th rep. So after I went ahead and single leg deadlift, sliding deadlifts, I really enjoyed these. I haven't done them in a long time. I used to do a lot of single leg deadlifts. But these ones mimic the starting position of the deadlift itself. So you can see that the weight's going to just go right down the ankle. Dogs! Sorry. So the weight goes right down the ankle, surround your foot, don't hit the toes. But if you have dumbbells, get some blocks or something, otherwise you're going to drop the shoulders too far into it like that. And you're just basically doing a deadlift. You're doing a deadlift on one hand, the back foot is just guiding the slider. There's not a whole lot of weight on it. And it's really good to get some balances on. That's pretty much what it's doing. Did some pendlay rows, built some starting speed. My elbows were still killing me, so these were really difficult. Came back later, because I had to go to school. Some more deadlifts. I finished up my volume, 3,800 pounds. I just did 230 instead of going back up to 380. And I finished out with 19 reps, or 18 reps. With the axle, just to change it up, have a little bit of fun, I guess. That's what you want to call this. I think it's fun. Whatever. I'm a West Side shirt on. I represent West Side. I love West Side. I don't care what anyone says. It's awesome. If you don't know what West Side is, you're about to find out. Yeah, really, these were actually getting into my hamstrings, now that I think about it. I don't know why. Probably because I wasn't trying to drop my hips so low. But ended up doing some sandbag loading. I got so sweaty. I did 10 minutes of this. I was doing, my intent was to do 5 at EMOM, but just wasn't happening. So I did 10 minutes. I rested when I need to. I pushed it. And that's about it, guys. It was tough. Get that hip extension, get the spinal extension. Some are better than others, but that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. Stay strong.